Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty in the Frizz. My name is Cara. Whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me for yet another roundup. And I'm sitting up here thinking as I try to fix my little lip balm. 2023 is almost over. Like, it's real. Time really flies, and I'm really trying to internalize that concept because we gotta live our best life now. That's not what you asked for, but it's the truth. Anyway, if you want to see all of the things that I used in the month of October, keep watching this video. Let me know what you think. And if makeup is your therapy and your love, if it makes you happy and you want to hang out with someone that feels the same way and join the best community ever here on YouTube for beauty, yes, consider joining this community. I'd love to have you back. All right, let's get started. The whole joining the community thing, I really mean that, y'all. Like, I feel like we're really friends and we talk about so much makeup and non-makeup related. And I just think that anybody that's living real life and really adulting and trying to make it step by step, day by day, this community, like, that's what we're all doing while enjoying our makeup in the process for a little bit of therapy. So, y'all, I will say, I'm looking at this pile here and there's a lot, so I should get started. But I have to say, I am proud. I'm tooting my own horn because I'm using my stuff. Now, I know we saw the haul video. I get it. And that was a lot. But I am honoring the old while I'm bringing in the new. And old, we're going to put that in quotes because it's not really even that old. But, you know, like 2 weeks is old in these streets. So we gotta change that. We gotta stop normalizing that. That's what I said to my students. They were like, what? We gotta stop normalizing that because there's nothing wrong with bringing out the things that we have and loving on the things that we have. So we're gonna get into it. Oh no, here comes August. I feel like August is about to come in here. Oh, he didn't come in. Okay, we're gonna get into it. Hello.
What does that mean?
Yeah, your knees. I told you about the knees.
The grass.
Yeah.
On my knees.
Yeah. Are you wheezing? Because that wouldn't be good. All right. I'll see you out there.
Can I have some food?
Sure. Okay, they're fed. Let's go ahead and get started on everything I used in October. Let's start with some lip products. So first I have my Chantecaille, I was about to say Cleona, Chantecaille Lip Chic. Now I'm wearing one now in the shade Patience because they tried it. I got this one from Macari for like 19 bucks and I'm probably gonna repurchase this. I really like how these feel. They feel like a lip balm, really moisturizing, really hydrating. But I do have this one called Work It, and this was from the Jaguar collection. And I'm gonna make sure I use this one as well. This one's a lot more pigmented than the one that you see on my face now. So I don't use this one that much, but let's put it on. It's really nice. Same formula. Yeah, I really like this formula, but I can't be dealing with Chantecaille and their prices. So, I mean, these are the only two I have, and they will probably be the only two that I have. I also use one of the Pat McGrath liquid lipsticks. This is the shade Nude Cabaret. I love this one. I like her liquid lipsticks. They're very comfortable. And I really have had great luck with liquid lipsticks. I love the Maybelline Vinyl Inks. I love the Cloud Lip Clays from Kaleidos. I like the Pat McGrath ones. I really have had great success. I feel like I'm forgetting something. The Gucci ones are nice. I can't think of anything else. Oh, no. Yes, I can. The Unearthly ones are fantastic. Again, I've had great luck with liquid lipsticks. And I just like these new colors. I don't remember when I purchased this one, but again, I am really trying to make it a point to go into my collection and make sure I'm switching things around, using things that I haven't used. Let's talk about this though. I just found this maybe a few weeks ago. It was in one of my cardigans, and I guess I haven't worn it in a year because I haven't worn that cardigan in a long time. And this is my Proper Beauty lipstick in the shade Finesse. This is my favorite one. Moxie is another great one from Proper Beauty. And I was wondering, like, what happened to Proper Beauty? Proper Beauty is still around, and if they had any sales or emails, they've been in my junk folder because that's where I found them. These lipsticks are not going to be the lipsticks that you want to wear if you don't want things to move around. I mean, I think these have like shea butter, very hydrating. They have oils in them. This is not the transfer proof type lipstick, but in the wintertime, especially if you're looking for something that's really hydrating, that has pigment, not going to dry your lips out, Proper Beauty, this is it. This is it right here. I have a lot of their shades, and I don't think they've added to their line as far as I know. So if you go pull up my Proper Beauty video, I'm sure I have a video where I've tried on shades. They had an initial launch, and then they had a second launch. That second launch, I don't know if I filmed that. Either way, let me just tell you, Finesse and Moxie, those are the two. They're all great, but Finesse and Moxie, those are those girls. So if you are interested in trying Proper Beauty, and it's a black-owned brand as well, those are the shades right there. I will not steer you wrong. Now, I do have one of the satin liquid lipsticks from Unearthly Cosmetics. This is in the shade Gladys, and I love these. Gladys was not my favorite shade, but I had on the shade, and I used it with my Gucci Lucy Dark Orange. I have a bunch of these Unearthly liquid lipsticks. I really love them. The other thing about Unearthly is that the shades they come out with are very unique. And I say that because this Nude Cabaret from Pat McGrath, this is a very common color. It's a nude kind of rosy situation, and I know I have this with my Kaleidos lip clays and some other things, some other shades. I know I have one in my Maybelline vinyl inks, but the ones that Unearthly come out with, you may not find in another brand, and I'm just thrilled with them. Thrilled is my word nowadays. I really, really love them. And honestly, I think I love them more now than I did when I acquired them when they were sent to me last year. Hello.
I get a piece of pie.
Of course you can.
Yay! What are you watching?
So yes to the Unearthly Cosmetics liquid lipsticks. They are fantastic. All right. This is from the Melt Beetlejuice collection that released in 2020. And this is one of the Electrip lipsticks. I don't know the name of the shade because it wore off. This is not my favorite. It was very, very fun with the look, but this is not a lipstick that I would wear on a regular occasion. It's very, very metallic, and I don't really go for metallic lips. If you like metallic lips, I think this is great, but it's discontinued, so it doesn't really matter, unfortunately. But I am, again, wanting to go back into my collection and look at the things that I once lusted after and sought after. Lusted is very, very strong. We'll say, no, lusted, probably lusted. Because, you know, sometimes I dream about makeup sometimes. August tells me, because like when I sleep in his room, sometimes he'll be like, you were talking about palettes in your sleep. I'm like, that is so sad. Or you know what, it doesn't have to be sad. I'm glad I have something that I'm passionate about and that I really love. But I don't know. It's a gift and a curse, I guess. All right. Anyway, that's not even why we're doing this. I want to talk about these highlighters that were sent to me from What's Up Beauty. What's Up Beauty is releasing a palette soon, and I am getting that palette, so I'm very excited to share it with you all because it looks really pretty. I don't have it yet, but these are the Serengeti highlighters, and I think they're really beautiful. I am not sure, like when I think about What's Up Beauty, what their thing is. You know, at first I thought they were nail polish because they had What's Up nails. So I don't know what their thing is. You know what I mean? Like when I think about certain brands, like I know what their thing is, but I'm not sure What's Up Beauty, or maybe they're gonna have a multitude. But these are really pretty, and they remind me a little bit of something that Chantecaille would have come out with. Ooh, and it's like you can press this in. I never tried. So can y'all see that little tiger there? Very pretty. This one's called Safari Sunset, and I will say these highlighters are very smooth, not glittery at all. And I have Wild Acacia, which is this one. And this is the lighter of the two. Again, really smooth. They remind me of the highlighter that I got with the Natasha I Need a Nude highlighter. Not the palette, but the highlighter that came out over a year ago. I think, when did that come out? I Need a Nude highlighter. It came out with something. But that's what these remind me of right away. Just the texture, how smooth they are. I think they did a really great job with these highlighters, so I do look forward to using them. I will say that lately, because I've been using blushes that have a sheen to them, I haven't really been adding additional highlighter. I've just been taking the blush and putting a little bit on my nose, really, and if it gives me a little bit of pigment there, so be it. And that's what I've been doing. So I do want to get back into using my highlighters again. Speaking of highlighters, I pulled out my Ketracel White palette from Adept Cosmetics. And this is a palette that I was always on the fence about, even after the first use. I have to say that these creams are not my favorite. I really love Adept, and I love how the creams look on my finger. Like, they're duochromy. I love how they look when I swatch them out. Like, look at that. But I will say that when they dry, I feel like I'm left with glitter sparkles on my face. I don't know if it's my error or if it's because it's a cream and then it fades and dries, and then what's left are those glitter particles. I don't particularly like how that looks on me. This is just not my favorite. When I initially put it on, I love it. But by the end of the day, I don't like seeing little sparkles all around. And I remember when I got to work after wearing it, my kids were like, oh, they loved it. They were like, oh my gosh, Miss Chambers, you have on glitter. And I was like, that wasn't really what I was going for. I didn't use the powder shades again, but I'd love to find a way to use these and maybe swipe across the colors like that and then maybe put it on, because I want to say, see that? I saw somebody do that with Rainbow Raider, and I really liked that. I was like, okay, I can see how I can use this palette. But the way I initially used it in the video, where I was using tiny brushes to get out the shade that I wanted, that's not going to be the move for me. But something like this, where you can really get that rainbow effect, I think could make a really fun look. So I'm not giving up on this palette quite yet. I just don't think that the cream shades are for me. I just don't think it's giving me the finish that I want to have on my face. You know what else isn't giving? The Patrick Ta blushes. And I'm sure y'all are tired of hearing about it. And you know what? Maybe this will be the last time I mention it, because I have wanted these to work for me for years, and they just aren't. I have tried them both ways, but I do feel like I need to go back and try it again with the powder first and then the cream. When I put the cream down first, the cream fades within 2 hours. And I wish I had the picture. I sent the picture to Jamie, Makeup on Your Radar, and I was like, look at this. When I show her the picture, she's like, oh my gosh, your cheeks are just glowy goodness. And I'm like, wow, I think I figured it out. No, but alas, that was not what we were doing here, and that was not the plan that Patrick Ta had for me. I love this shade right here, and I have 3 of the blushes, but this one is She's So LA, and I love it. It is like a rosy brown. It is perfect. It is a perfect shade, but this cream is not working. When I did use just the powder by itself, it was great, but with the cream, it was a no. So again, if you have tips and tricks, I know one of my friends on here was telling me to use a dense brush for the cream, then put the powder on. So I will try. I will try, or maybe I'll try the powder and then the cream over top. But after this, I'm gonna be all tried out, because I just, what did my friend say? One of my friends on here, I think it was Zerby. She was like, you try with this blush longer than some people try in relationships. And I agree, and that's sad. 2 years isn't even that long, but it's long for blush. So no. Now here I also have a blush that works for me, and this is the Best Buds blush from Menagerie. This comes in 3 shades, but I have one, and I'm not sure what this one's called. It is called, I don't know what. It is like a peachy gold, and I love this. They have like a purpley one and a yellow one, but this is gorgeous. And did y'all see the palette that Menagerie is coming out with for Black Friday? I think I might get it. I only have 2 Menagerie palettes, but I love them. I have the Sugar Glider palette and the, what is it called? It's an octopus one, and I love it. I was gonna call it Royal Ink, but that is not what it's called at all. But I love that palette too. That makes me think of a Do We Still Love Her video, but I know I do already. So I did use this Wayne Goss blush. This one's called Sweet Wildflower, and the shades are Dusty Rose and Honeysuckle, and they are just that. They are dusty. They are not going to work on everybody. It does work on me, and I do like Dusty Rose. I do like the Wayne Goss blushes, if you can see it right there. I think his blushes have a nice formula. I actually have 4. I have the other light one, and then I have Vivid Azalea and I think Bright Poppy, and I still really like them. I remember when he came out with these, and it was a big deal, and then people were like, oh, the second like little phase of blushes didn't go with every skin tone. But I will tell you, those first 4 blushes he came out with, especially Vivid Azalea, Clown City on me if I use too much. Clown City, as well as Bright Poppy. The highlighters are very nice, still going strong. And again, really similar to the type of highlighters that I go for. So I like these. I like the big pans. So I'm going to keep using my Wayne Goss blushes, y'all. Oh, here's another Patrick Ta blush. Let's see which one this one. Oh, she's different. Yeah, she's different, all right. She doesn't work. Great shades, but I just can't do it. And you know, my clown self was so pumped about thinking I got the blush to work that I started looking at other shades like, ooh, do I want the holiday blush palette? Do I want to put other ones in my cart? I'm so glad I was not Boo Boo the Fool, because that's what was about to happen. So no more Patrick Ta blushes for this girl. Now, this blush palette is still really going strong for me. This is my first blush palette from NARS, and this is called the Orgasm X palette, and this is when Orgasm X came out. So this one was Orgasm, this is an Orgasm highlighter, and then we have Orgasm X. I remember I got this, I got the little mini, it was like a really teeny tiny eyeshadow palette and a gloss. It was almost like an oil. I still have that too, and that's going strong. I still really like this. So this is great, classic pinky gold blush, Orgasm X, very pretty highlighter, again classic, same as, you know, the types of highlighters that I like. So I'm still using this palette, and I don't care if it's 3 years old, because it says 12 months shelf life, but it's fine. And more blush, House Labs Dragon Fruit Days. These are great blushes too. She did a good job with this collection, I think. Look at Dragon Fruit Days, beautiful. Love these. We're almost on eyeshadows. I'm excited. Okay. All right. Well, let me just do one more thing, and then we'll get to the eyeshadow palettes. Yes, we will. This is the Melt Beetlejuice Matte Gel Liner. Comes in a little pot here. And in my video, I was just talking about just how great these have held up over time. You could tell it was not really used. These are really nice. I love these. And I wish I thought more about them, because I have more than just this one from Melt, but they dry down. And I just feel like this would be a really great eyeshadow base. Like, they dry down and they really don't move. Melt, I don't know. I feel like they don't really market these that much, but these would be great liners because they don't move. Because I think like the Patrick Ta ones, like the creams that are in his palette, I don't think those dry down. I think you have to cover them with a shadow. So it's nice to just have something that's going to dry down that you can also blend out. You know, you don't have a whole lot of playtime, but even right here, I'm just rubbing it and I'm like, okay, it's fading a little bit. Like, it's got a little bit of playtime, but not much before it dries down. I think we're ready for the fun. I'm not going in any particular order with this, but you know, we're at the eyeshadow palettes. I save those for last. Night of the Vivid Dead by Notoriously Morbid. The whole thing with this one was that it was a neon palette, and I was very surprised about the looks that I created. Is this my favorite palette from Notoriously Morbid? No, but it was the first time that I used neons. I liked the looks. They're just not my type of looks. As far as performance and Notoriously Morbid and what they usually do, this was great. It was right up their alley. I love seeing different sides of a brand. Actually, I was watching a video by Kinky Sweat when she was talking about xenon. And she was talking about how people were saying it would be cool to have some neons, you know, in a palette. And she was talking about like maybe Natasha Denona may come out with a, I mean, it was speculation, but an all neon palette. So it's cool to come out with things for a theme. You know, they're not for everybody and they may not be for all times of year or anything like that. But I could see, you know, if I need a neon shade, I'm going, well, I was gonna say I will pull out this palette. It's the only neon palette I have, but I think it serves its purpose in my collection. It is something that's unique, but it's not something I'm really gonna wear like that. But I feel like I could use shades in that palette to enhance looks if I need neon shades. My baby, Giant Wolves. Odin's Eye, the collab with Annette's Makeup Corner. I did a Do We Still Love Her video. I do still love her. And I did find one of my shades drying out. And that was very sad. It's the shade Hattie. It was very sad. So there's a huge dip in this pan. Even swatching it now, you're gonna see pretty much nothing. And that was really disappointing for me to discover. Now this palette looks like it has a 36-month shelf life, so there's really no excuse. But that is why it is important to just be aware of the things you have in your collection. And I think for me, someone who built their collection so fast, I don't know, I can't even say it's gonna slow me down, but it put the reality out there for me that, hey, this stuff is not gonna last forever and you need to understand what you're doing with these palettes. Like, do you like referencing them? I can say yes, I do like referencing them. Can I reference them? I'm not gonna keep saying it, reference, but can I, you know, reference older palettes without having them? Yeah, I can, but I don't know. I like having them in hands. And I like to feel like I'm somewhat of a historian. Not there yet. It's only been since the end of 2019, so I'm definitely not there. But I am happy to be able to go back, say I had the palette, do looks with it, except for that one shade, of course, and still love that palette. And I still do. I still think that palette is just such a beautiful Starry Night palette. It is one of the most unique palettes that I think I've used. And I remember creating a look with that palette and I was like, wow, this is just one of my favorite looks. So happy to have it, was happy to pull it out again, and I'm glad that I didn't forget about it. Now I did get the new Patrick Ta Major Dimension 3 palette, but before I pressed the button on that, I was like, let's go back and use the Major Dimension 1. I really like Major Dimension 2. I feel like those pink and mauve shades are great, and I love gradients. I'm all about gradients and being able to create gradients with, you know, your transition and your crease shades, and if you want to do an all matte look. I will say the weakness in Major Dimension, the shimmers, I don't know, I just feel like they're supposed to be these kind of wet effect type situations, almost like the Natasha Denona ones, but I just feel like they're just not great. I'm sorry. This one right here, I don't even know why this is in the shimmer row, because it really isn't a shimmer. This one's okay. This one is okay as well. That one's a little more of a foil, so that one's nice. But this one right here, I just don't think these shimmers are shimming. The mattes are matting, the creams are creaming, but the shimmers are not. I think that the issue for me is if I'm gonna pull out a palette that has shimmers in it, I wanna be able to use those shimmers. With his matte palette, I already know I'm pulling out something else. That's why I bought it. I bought it to pull something else out. I didn't buy this palette to pull something else out. I know that's petty, but that's how I feel. And that's why I think I don't really go for this palette that much, even though I love the mattes. I did a Do We Still Love Her with Warms My Blood from Unearthly Cosmetics. Of course, the answer was yes. One of their best palettes. You got 2 columns of shimmers, 2 columns of mattes. And I love that this palette was part of a Halloween release, but it doesn't just say Halloween to me, it says fall. I love how when Unearthly Cosmetics was contacted about shades drying up, that they replaced them. And they could have been like, girl, you got this in PR, like, we're not replacing it, but they did. And I thought that was great. It was my Centuries shade, and I really thank them for that. Now, my Admiral's Arms shade seems to be the next one, but it's not dry to the point, like Centuries was dry and I couldn't use it. Admiral's Arms isn't like that whatsoever. We're still going strong. So it may just be hard pan, but Centuries had dried, and I just love how they were gracious and sent everything out, which they should have, but I just love that because, again, they could have been like, girl, you got this for free. Chill out. I like that they wanted me to still have the same experience as everyone else, and I really, really love this palette. I'm so sorry that all of the palettes couldn't have the beautiful artwork. So I feel like every video recently I've been dropping a palette, and that's not cool. But I'm always grateful to Unearthly Cosmetics for including me on their PR list. I can always use those new palettes. Oh my God. Fall Magic and Sorcerer's Smoke. Like, I'm gonna need a moment. Char. So I'm sorry because I thought they were bringing, what's it called? Rose Fire? Fire Rose. Thought they were bringing this back to the US, but I was boo-boo the fool. And I was excited. That's why I did. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this. I own it. I'm gonna pull it out and do a Do We Still Love Her, because so many people wanted this and Char did not bring it back. I did talk to some people that got it, so they may have lived overseas. Some people were talking about an app. Didn't know Char had an app. You know, didn't know we were that advanced. It's all about this pop shade right here, but I'm gonna let y'all know, like, we can find this pop shade from our beautiful indie brands, and it will not be the price of a Charlotte Tilbury quad. So I just feel like we can dupe this. I think in 2023, we have seen mainstream brands do indie quality shadows. So I don't know how relevant this is at this point, but I did want to bring this out because I already owned it. Did I like the look that I did with it? Of course I did. Of course I did. And I'm definitely going to like it because it was a $53 quad. But was it really worth $53? Probably not, just to be honest. But I also know that some people aren't going through the task of searching for shadows on indie sites. Like, that's not something that everyone enjoys doing. I enjoy doing it, but a lot of people don't enjoy doing that. But you know what I do enjoy? This, House of Elle. Do We Still Love Her? Yes. Did a video with this. I wore this for my Miss Frizzle Halloween video. If you saw that video, so beautiful. And I was talking in that video about the rumors that she was going to come out with a full-size House of Elle palette in 2024-25. So I hope that is going to be the case because I will be all over it. That palette is very special. I also have the Spirit of Sleepy Hollow, which, lo and behold, wasn't the only Halloween release from Notoriously Morbid. I really liked this one. I did break a shade and I still have the remnants of it. I just don't know how I'm going to be able to press it back in. This is almost like a semi-loose pigment, and I really did like this shade, but I got to really tread lightly with this one. I love this. This one just gives you all the fall vibes, and it doesn't really scream Halloween. It screams fall, but it does go appropriately with Halloween. So I think that's great. If you saw the Poltergeist palette, but my concern is that once the oversprays have worn off, that I am going to be sad. And all of them aren't oversprays, but some of them have oversprays. Some of the shades have a combination of multiple shades poured in the pans. They do sell the shades as singles, but I think I'm going to pass on that one. And then they came out with the Bog Witch, which I have not worn yet. I just actually acquired this one yesterday from them, but really excited to use this. I know this is going to be their last palette before Black Friday. So yeah, I thought I was getting the Halloween one out the way with them, but they had more up their sleeve. I do like the Spirit of Sleepy Hollow. I think it's a really, really nice palette. And just with Notoriously Morbid and their branding and their theme. All of these Halloween type releases are on trend for the brand. So, you know, they had Season of the Witch, Fall. They have a lot of different themes. So whatever they come out with, you know, it's always the right time for Notoriously Morbid. I became the proud owner of the Inslee Rain Harvest Moon palette. This was my first palette from Inslee Rain. And I also did get accepted to their affiliate program. This right here, this is really all that you need. I did 5 looks with this palette and I loved every single look. I love the mattes, I love the shimmers, I love the color story. I really didn't have any complaints about this palette except I wish there was a mirror here. I would even go as far to say that I don't really even need the magnetic pans, you know, if that would bring the price point down, because so many people wanted this palette and they're like, it's $88, which is really expensive, you know, and we can do the whole price per shade breakdown and stuff like that. But the reality is it is expensive. I will say that this palette does have some holochromes, the duochromes, the foils, but these mattes are really what made it for me, because sometimes with palettes, if they only have a couple mattes, sometimes the mattes aren't really like what I need them to be. But these were, I don't know what I was trying to do with that swatch. I do have a video on this because I would swatch all the shades, but it's so many. This palette is gorgeous. It is really probably one of the best palettes I've purchased this year or that I've received this year. It is like grungy goodness, fall goodness. I'm out here in the leaves, in the forest, like with this girl. Can't wait to try the Twisted Tea Party, which I should be working on soon. I did a Do We Still Love Her with the Sultry palette. This is probably my very first cool toned palette. And I still do love this palette. I think that the formula is nice. I think the color story is nice. I think the color story is still relevant and unique. Even in 2023, I think this is relevant and unique. And you know, this palette had been out before Urban Decay came out with their Naked Reloaded palette. The Naked Reloaded palette was exactly this palette. So you're talking about years after you have a brand doing the same exact palette. I mean, exact palette with this little bloom pop here. This was a really nice palette. And I did a look with it and I was like, I'm still happy to have this one in my collection. I haven't really purchased from ABH in a long time, but I am going to keep the things that I have. And I have this as well as the Jackie Aina palette, and I really do like both of those. This one right here though, this is a sleeper palette from Melt. And I don't know what year this came out or how anyone felt about 27. 27 might be before Rust, and that's a lot for me to say because Rust has always been my favorite Melt palette because it was my first palette, first neutral palette, and I just loved it. But this one, this is like warm, and then you got your little chocolate milk goodness here. Shimmers were great. I just want Melt to consistently have this type of formula. I wore this one in my Alvin and the Chipmunks Halloween look. I was trying to do a little latte makeup, but these matte, they're perfect. And I've had this palette for a little over a year at this point, and it's still going strong, and I love it. I'm so glad I got that. I remember getting it on a discount. I think that's one of Melt's best palettes. Do we still love her? I used this. What was I? Oh, I had to wear pink for breast cancer. Yes. So I was like, let's pull out Divine Rose. So I had the pink wig, Divine Rose 2 to be exact. This was my first participation in a Pat McGrath launch. I know this launch sold out. Was very fortunate to acquire the pink packaging, complete with the fingerprints on it. And even though when I rank this palette, it never really ranks like in the top 5, I don't think. This is like one of my favorite Pat McGrath palettes. I love it. This shade right here is this Naked Blush. I love that shade. Yes. Naked Blush is such a good shade. It is a great shade. And it's a great blush shade as well. We had the VR Extraterrestrial, which was the first time I had seen a shade like that because I wasn't really buying indie makeup. I was like, whoa, like these flips. It was so smooth. And, you know, Pat McGrath, her special shades didn't have that feel. They didn't have that smooth feel. So I was, everybody, it wasn't just me. Everybody was like, whoa, you know. Because she had dual chrome shades before, but they didn't have that smooth feel. That one's smooth like the Davina Aurora Flares. Oh my gosh, Davina's supposed to be coming out with a palette, y'all. I might have to do that. I'm gonna have to do that. They're gonna reveal it, I think, tonight. So yes, not that I'm gonna be able to warn y'all because I don't know when this is going up. Fell in love with this one this year. And I don't think I was in love with this one last year. I think I might have been rushing or whatever. I don't know. Fell in love with Nomad Hudson Valley this year. Like, when you think of fall, what else can you come up with? I mean, you have cool, warm, you have leaves transitioning from green to brown to red to gold. You have the 3 shimmers in the middle that kind of separate it all out. These shimmers are actually pretty good. You know, Nomad can have different shimmer formulas, but these ones, these were really, not these ones. They were nice though. I will say that they were smooth. They were really all that you needed for the palette, because the highlight in this palette were these mattes. And I was so excited to use this palette again. And I was just like, damn, I really did not give this palette its flowers when I used it. I don't think I was wild or anything, but I used it this year, like in October, obviously. And I was just like, okay. And that's why I like to be able to go back, because your opinions change about things, you know? So this one, top five for Nomad, for sure. Along with Ghost Town, America's Parks, Haunted Europe, Royal Europe. That's 4, right? Is that 4? Okay, whatever. Isn't that 5 altogether? What'd I say? Hudson Valley, America's Parks, Haunted Europe, Royal Europe, Ghost Town. I might have said Ghost Town twice. I don't know. That's not what we're doing here. That'll have to be another video. Do we still love her? What did I wear this for? Oh, I had to wear blue for work. Yes, and I was like, I'm gonna put on my blue wig and wear my subliminal palette. And I remember talking in that video about a lot of stuff, a lot of adult stuff, a lot of sad things. And I'm so behind on my comments, but I like to read all the comments, and y'all write long comments. So I'm still getting to those, but all y'all that reach out to me and comment, I'm so grateful. Like, and I just want to take the time to sit and comment back, because if you took the time to write, I want to write back, and I don't want to be like, oh, thank you. Like, no. So I want to thank all of you who reached out to me in that video, because I talked a lot about Mark and him passing and the boys and just sadness, you know. I really appreciate all of that, because I accept all of that as kind of an ongoing part of my life. This is not going to go away. Just sometimes are easier than others, you know, and that was just a hard time. This palette is really beautiful, and I think that as I come to love cool tones, I come to appreciate this palette even more. I had this palette for at least a year before I used it. That says a lot. But when I used it, I was like, wow, this is a really nice palette. And you know, every time I look at Pat McGrath's palettes, these motherships, especially, I would say the first 6 or 7, I'm like, there's so much more that she can do, but I know that there's a different vision going on. So I just really want to say that I cherish my mothership palettes. I don't have the latest mothership at this time, but I do cherish my mothership palettes, especially I would say 1 through 7. I guess right before Utopian Scheme, right before that one. But I even like Utopian Scheme, Dream. All right, I do have, out of order, this is the Monarcha blush palette from Melt. I might have shared this last month. I really like this one. Actually, the whole Amore Mary Posas collection. But I did pull this out. I think they did a great job with this blush palette. I like blush palettes because you can use the shades as is, or you can combine shades to kind of make your own finish and make your own shade. And that's what I like about the Monarcha palette. And I just think it was a nice move for them. I just wish that the execution of the launch of this collection did better for Melt, because they put so much into this collection. Like just the little details, everything. They put so much into it and so much into that price, only to launch it for 20% off. But they really did. Like the trailer, all of it was like really mesmerizing to me. Did y'all see that Laura Oriano just got married? Oh, so pretty. Oh my gosh. And keeping up with Melt, you know, I used my Beetlejuice palettes for my holiday looks. I used the Waiting Room for my Wednesday look. And I was happy to do that because I might have forgotten and then bought that Freddy Krueger palette from Glamlight, but I did not because I went back into my collection. And I think the Glamlight palettes are great. And I think that red palette really did, you know, bring on that Freddy Krueger vibe. But I realized like that was really not something that I need because I'm not going to use a whole bunch of red shades, and I have this. And I actually came to appreciate my good friend Juno, which has tape on it, because I was like, I want to scrape this one out and put something else in. But no, I'm not going to do it. I feel like Juno gave the look, the Wednesday look, some dimension and some texture, and I really came to appreciate it. I used a couple of the grays. I think I used the black, and then maybe on the lower lash line I used one of the reds. But I was really happy to go back and use these and just use it. Well, I was gonna say use it in a time other than Halloween, but that wasn't the case because it was for my Wednesday look. But I was just happy to bring these out. You know, this was from 2020. So it's just nice to see how your palettes are holding up over time. And for Recently Deceased, I was trying to channel the look that Laura Oriano did in the Beetlejuice promo. She had on a green wig, so I had on my green wig that I wore in my video a few years ago. And I really love this, and I talked in the video about how could these have been revamped so they didn't seem repetitive. But again, I will stand on that. These are some of the best makeup components I've ever seen. So they really put their foot in that collection, and has a little insert. I think this was just, it was just great. Still waiting for Edward Scissorhands. Maybe it'll be 2024. Edward Scissorhands is going to be it. I know they did The Nightmare Before Christmas and I didn't participate in that, but Edward Scissorhands is the one. I'm telling you, I'm waiting. Melt can really do something with that collection. So I'm waiting, but I'm calling it because it's going to happen. And last but not least, for my roundup, we have the Devour Halloween collection from Unearthly Cosmetics, which she put her foot in this collection. Put her foot in it. I'm not going to show everything. I'm just going to focus on the palette. Put her foot in this palette, y'all. Like this. Look at that. I don't even know what to say. I think I did 3 looks. Just beautiful. They hit their sweet spot on the formula. And I was just really happy with the color story, the packaging, the design on the front. It's just so well thought out. There's a lip oil. There are some satin lipsticks and 2 glosses. I'm gonna leave this out because I need to use this. Look at the blush highlighter duo. Look at that. It's got these little purple kind of marble pattern through here with the outline. This was just great. And I love that there was such a demand for the palette that she decided to sell it separate. They are killing it. I don't know what they're doing for holiday, but I know they are doing something and I'm really excited. I do have Fall Magic and Sorcerer's Smoke, and I cannot wait to get started with those palettes. I'm in over my head a little bit, but I'm so excited that I'm in over my head because I have some really great things to play with. But I will say, despite all of the new things that I have to play with, I've really been getting into this collection. I've really been getting back into my collection, loving makeup. Yeah, you can ask me for permission. Sure. And I'm really happy about that because it makes me feel like it wasn't all for naught. August friend was like, it's 5:55 and it's nighttime, bro. It sure is. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because I was about to say it feels late. I need to get them into bed, but it's early. I can't. This is when, oh my gosh, this is when it gets tough, y'all, because it's like, it's dark. I don't want to do anything. I'm ready to get into bed myself, but I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you so much for taking out some of your time and hanging out with me. Let me know in the comment section what you've been using. And I love these roundups, as I said, because it really just keeps me on point with my collection. And, you know, I like to use different things every month in addition to the new things I have. So I hope this was therapy for you. It always is for me. And until I see you again, make sure you are being gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself nice. Stay safe. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.